Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to my review of the second prologue minisode for Doctor Who Series 9, The Doctor's Meditation. Now, whilst prologue, the other prologue minisode for Series 9, sort of feels like a deleted scene from The Magician's Apprentice, this episode actually kind of fills in some stuff that the Doctor mentions in that episode. He goes to try and meditate, which is, according to Missy, what the Time Lords do before they die. But the Doctor is unable to do that, so instead he goes and digs wells. He's trying to meditate in 12th century Essex with this guy called Bors. And I've just remembered another thing I forgot to mention in the review of the two-parter, which I'm going to talk about in a bit. But he's with Bors and this character called Bors who pops up in the episode as well. And they then go and dig a well with some Bors people, and it takes ages until they find the right spot and then get some well out, and then the Doctor goes back to meditate. But Bors doesn't believe he's capable of silent meditation, so instead they decide to go and throw a party, which eventually leads into the terrible tank scene from The Magician's Apprentice. You know, the one where Peter Capaldi's riding on top of the tank, playing his guitar. Fuck. Again, there's not an awful lot to talk about with this one, but I think there's a lot more going on in this one than prologue. I think it's a fun, enjoyable minisode, and it's pretty good. And also, it has a nice ending has a good ending where it's tying in with the start of Magician's Apprentice. I also forgot to mention in that review that they are kind of using a mix of old and new weaponry, just like in Genesis of the Daleks, and even a line that Harry Sullivan mentioned in that story that they're even using bows and arrows. That's a nice Easter egg. With Bors, the thing I was going to come back to was in the actual episode, The Magician's Apprentice, it's revealed that Bors was a Dalek puppet, or at least had been at some point taken over by the Daleks, but yet colony staff still took forever to find the Doctor and eventually had to follow Clara and Missy, and even then we don't know how. And then it's then revealed Bors has been taken over by Dalek puppets, so the Daleks are already there, and they acquired the TARDIS. So if the Daleks were already there, why did they need colony staff to go all around, or at least to go all around the universe looking for the Doctor in the first couple of scenes after the titles? Oh boy. And that reminds me, the Sonic sunglasses. Another thing I forgot to mention in the review, I might have to come back to that in a future review because they're not really big in this prologue, so I'll probably have to come back to them in a later Series 9 review, but I forgot to talk about those as well. But okay, I am a bit confused why they decided to use Amy Pond's theme towards the end, because it's kind of a whimsical theme, but it also has some kind of creepiness inside the music. But I don't know why they decided to use it for that scene, because the Doctor's reminiscing, so he's got a bit of shame, so it kind of works with that and the whole war aspect with the kind of creepy aspect of the music track, but it doesn't really quite work. And there's also this comedy music track which was used in Day of the Doctor when the Doctor picked up his fez. Also doesn't quite work. I think tracks by Murray Gold that just get reused in stuff out of context don't quite work as well as when they get used in the actual episodes. I saw this with the Adventure games. They used the Blink soundtrack quite a bit in the quieter moments. So I think when Murray Gold's tracks are used in more scenes that are specific to use the music, work a bit better than ones where they just use the stock music by Murray Gold and just edit them into the episode. Or at the very least, the ones that don't do it as well, because this one, I think the Amy Pond theme doesn't quite work for this minisode's ending. It would have been better if it was perhaps the start of Am I a Good Man Stopping the Monsters, the 12th Doctor's theme, if it was the first couple of minutes of that, or the start of that. I think that would have been a good one to use, and more personal for the 12th Doctor. So, the Doctor's Meditation, I thought this was a fun, enjoyable, and entertaining prologue, minisode, and there was some stuff going on. It wasn't amazing, but it was still good. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I did briefly consider an 8 out of 10 score just now, but I think 7's fine. I think 7's fine. It's definitely a better prologue than the other one. Although I did like that one, but I think this one actually does stuff. So that's the Doctor's Meditation. It was a good little minisode. It wasn't perfect, but it was good. I preferred it to prologue, and it's also the best thing to come out of The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar. Okay, so that's it from me. Thank you for watching. Next time will be The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar review, so stay tuned for the start of the Series 9 reviews, excluding Last Christmas, which has already gone out. Check that one out if you haven't already, and stay tuned for The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar. Until next time, goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the Nicholas Payne YouTube channel. I did just briefly consider an 8 out score, I guess, about what he did. It's kind of shameful, but it's also a bit creepy. Creepy in the fact that it was concerning Davros and its war. So check that one out if